Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Faith Rockford, and I am the CEO of College Recruiter. I am so thrilled to be helping with this event today, and I want to thank everybody for being here. I also would be amiss if I did not thank our wonderful and generous sponsors. And I will list them now, just the AIM Group, the Association of Talent Acquisition Professionals, Career Crossroads, the Chat and Cheese Podcast, the Job Board Doctor, the Job Board Geek Podcast, Handle Logic, Recruiting Brain Food, Recruiting.work, Rack Tech Media, and Talent Board and the Candidate Experience Awards. I hope that everybody enjoys this wonderful fundraising event for Ukraine. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Stephen O'Donnell.
Thank you very much. Oh, let me just fix my camera. Thank you very much, Faith. I am delighted on behalf of TA Tech that we are involved in this this fantastic event. We know the news around the world over the past few months has been catastrophic from Ukraine, and everyone wants to do their bit to help. It's often difficult to think, what can we do that's practical to help? Well, one of the really important things to understand about what's going on in Ukraine right now is that there are a large raft of businesses based in Ukraine that are still very, very busy doing what they do in delivering online services. And of course, the company that's going to be speaking here today, Jubal, is one of those with staff throughout Ukraine and beyond, and delivering fantastic services. So one of the best ways that we can help companies and people in Ukraine is by continuing to do business with the organizations in the country. As Chief Growth Officer with TA Tech, we're all about technology companies in the recruitment space. We are absolutely delighted to be involved with the event here today. We need to also remember that the initiative was prompted by Mr. Rothberg, Stephen Rothberg himself. So let's bring Stephen on screen. Stephen, good afternoon. How are you? Or good morning, rather.
Yeah, good morning. It's 8 a.m. here in Phoenix, Arizona in the U.S. and about 103 degrees outside. So thankfully I'm inside. I really appreciate the graciousness of everybody involved in today's event. It sort of arose from I was looking right after the war started of how the company that I founded, College Recruiter, could play a part and help out our friends in Ukraine. I was connected by several different people. They pointed me to Andrew Setzenko, who we'll meet here in a moment, who was the founder of Relocate Me. And then around the same time, one of College Recruiter's partners, Jubal, asked if there was a way that we could work together with them also. And so I kind of put 1 + 1 + 1 together, and we got 20. Then reached out to Stephen O'Donnell to see if TA Tech would be interested in joining this. And without any hesitation, I think I got an email back from him in about 3 seconds that said, absolutely, how can we help? And then also the sponsors that Faith just listed, they were all in. So this is a really fantastic effort. And I really hope that during today's effort and in the days that follow that people can donate. For those who are watching on Crowdcast, right below the videos, there's a green please donate here button. And if you're not watching live, or if you're watching through one of the live streams, it's on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. You can go to GoFundMe.com/f/medical-other-humanitarian-aid-for-Ukrainians. If that link is a little too confusing, shoot me an email, Stephen@collegerecruiter.com. I'll reply right back with the link. And I'd like to hand it back to Stephen, and I think we're going to have our next person up.
Absolutely, thank you. I'm going to drop off Faith and Stephen for just now, and we're going to be joined on screen by Andrew Setzenko. Andrew, good afternoon. How are you? I understand you are on your laptop in your car at the minute.
Yes, absolutely right. Hi, Stephen. Hi, everyone.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll leave you to say a few words. I'll just drop off.
Yeah, great. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you so much for the organizers of this event. This is so crucial at the moment to actually share and give back to community. And before 21st of February this year, I was kind of a tech recruiter. I was a HR tech entrepreneur, and I always want to give back to the recruitment community with companies like with products like Glossary Tech or Relocate.me. And after the 24th, it was kind of a turning point for me, I guess, for my family, for all Ukrainians. Yeah, we definitely changed the way we're going to give back, and right now it's fully focused for the Ukrainian, for our fellow citizens. And since March, I launched my foundation. And the goal of this foundation is actually to help vulnerable people, mainly on the east part of Ukraine, and also like definitely support our brave soldiers who had this really hard time, give the hard resistance, and support our own territory and our own land. So yeah, don't want to take time anymore. Here is the link. If you're willing to donate, please donate here below the screen. And I would like to really welcome and to give a few good words to the guys from Jubal, the amazing company with Ukrainian roots. Probably you must know some of them. And they're doing an amazing job on the industry of helping thousands, hundreds, and probably millions of people find jobs. And yeah, give mic to Anastasia from Jubal. She could probably introduce better the company, the current state in Ukraine. As Steven mentioned, I'm on the road. Sorry for a bit mixed background in my car, so I definitely need to go to pick some humanitarian stuff and go back. So yeah, again, thank you so much for joining this event, and yeah, I hope you enjoy the content.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Really, I want to start my presentation with big thanks to the people who brought us here, who made this wonderful event and made the possibility for us to speak about Jubal, to speak about the Ukrainian situation, and to speak about job market. Actually, to speak about the topics we're really passionate about recruitment, about how the job market works, about how job aggregator works, and so on. So thank you very much to Stephen and Donald for having us here, to Stephen and Ruth Rothberg, and Andrew, thank you very much for the introduction and for your help for doing so much for Ukraine at this moment. I shall start my presentation. Just let me share my screen. I will speak about Jubal, about the current situation at the job market of Ukraine, and how we try to fight it. I hope you see my screen. So yes, hi again. We're Jubal, and I'm Anastasia Demina, and hi from our headquarters of Jubal. Hi from Kiev. Me and my colleagues at the moment are sharing the same office that we built for our company, and this wonderful office has survived a lot. The pandemic, first of all, the war at the moment. So we're really happy to come back to Kiev since a lot of people have changed their locations either to other parts of Ukraine or to the abroad locations. Always great to be at home. Let me elaborate more about Jubal and who we are and how we started. So Jubal at the moment is one of the most visited resources for employment. We're the job board and one of the biggest ones. We are at the market for almost 15 years, and through these 15 years, we are oriented to blue-collar job seekers, and we are trying to match them with their perfect employers. At the moment, we're represented in 69 countries, of course, in different languages, and we're oriented to blue collars of different countries. We have a rich history in terms of our development. In 2006, Jubal has started as a startup, and it was started by two college students, by Roman Prokofiev and Eugene Sobokarev. And it basically and literally has started in students' dormitory as a startup. Can you imagine that in 2006, Jubal counted two people, the co-founders, who were coding and creating this startup, creating the strategy of Jubal of what it might be in 15 years. You might also notice a little similarity of sounding Jubal with probably Google. This is the idea. The idea was to create a job board or a platform which would be job seeking platform just as Google, but for employers. So here we are in 15 years. We have a little bit more employees than two. We have at the moment more than 300 employees, and most of them have joined Jubal in past 3 years. As Jubal is international job board, millions of people use Jubal every day around the world. And of course, during our rich history, we've been trying to gain our goals with little steps. In 2006, the Jubal was launched, created the design of the platform itself, and in 2 years, it gained 300 websites visit daily. And can you imagine that nowadays, in 15 years, we have almost 3 million websites visit daily. So imagine that each of these visits is the separate person who is trying to seek for a job, or it is a job employer who seeks for the perfect employees for themselves. Fortunately, we passed the spot of for blue collars to find job through job advertisement. Fortunately, at the moment, we have Jubal to match the employers' job seekers. Unfortunately, at the moment, the mission of Jubal to match the employers and job seekers cannot be fulfilled for 100%, because with the beginning of the war in Ukraine, the number of job offerings and the job market actually has changed significantly. So the number of job offerings, according to various researchers, has dropped in 15 times. Of course, we realized that the war has started in February, the beginning of spring, and usually there's a seasonal and normal drop-off of the amount of job offerings, but the drop-off for 15 times is unusual, and of course it is a marker of the significant changes of the job markets. Some of companies have stopped the recruitment process and decided to wait till the situation gets more clear, and just now they have started to relaunch the recruitment processes. Of course, I may be speaking more about the IT companies. But many of the companies have not only stopped the recruitment processes, but they stopped the existence themselves, because partly the factories and the companies do not exist anymore physically. And unfortunately, this creates the changes in the job market. But at the moment, we're trying to observe a little bit development of the job market, of the labor market in Ukraine, and hopefully that by the end of the year everything gets way much better. So the companies might start the recruitment processes with the recruitment of Ukrainian employees. Speaking about the IT market, significant changes has touched the IT market as well. If you see the graphics, by the beginning of the war, the number of job offerings at this hot market was up to 10,000 job offerings, and by the middle of the February, it dropped to almost 4,000 job offerings. The situation is pretty noticeable that it's quite different from the situation that we had before. And of course, we as a job board, as people who work for matching the employers and job seekers, are pretty sad about this fact. Yes, as I said, that the Ukrainian market has changed significantly, and not only because the pauses in the recruitment processes of the company, but physically many people have relocated either to other parts of Ukraine or to neighbor countries or even overseas. So 96 of Ukrainian companies are experiencing the relocation of their employees. And many of them have started their new life and their careers in the neighbor countries. And of course, Ukrainian refugees are known for the being keen on finding a job and for the fast reception of working permits in every country they join to. So we hope that this situation might get even better with our initiative. Knowing the situation that the labor market in Ukraine has changed significantly as well, it touched the European job market. So Jubal has launched the initiative known as Job for Ukrainian Refugees. This is the separate platform that Jubal launched to help to match Ukrainian job seekers and international employers. So people who would like to help Ukrainians and Ukraine in total through the employment of Ukrainian workers might go to this platform to see and to post their job offerings and to see whether there are people who could do those jobs from Ukrainian refugees. At the moment, this platform works in 19 countries, and there are almost 7,000 of job offerings at the moment. Since the beginning of the war, there was almost or up to 5,000 visits to the platform each day. So you can imagine that people who are fleeing to other countries immediately have started to find the job. It is a good and bad news at the same time because, of course, we're expecting our people to come back to Ukraine and to join back the Ukrainian economy and Ukrainian companies. For example, Jubal up to, let's say, 100 Jubal employees are abroad at the moment. But I would say that Jubal is a unique company who has saved almost all of our employees. And since we're a remote first company, we can afford ourselves to work remotely from any country we want. And of course, a lot of people right now are either in neighbor countries or in the United Kingdom, for example. So we have to experience this time difference, and we're trying not to text our employees at 7 a.m. as they start their job. Of course, this platform wasn't created only situationally to help people find job abroad. This platform is fulfilling our vision, our company. So you can see it at the slide. We create a world where every person throughout their life has the opportunity to find a job that corresponds to their life aspirations and creates conditions for a sense of the inherent value. This is what we feel about helping people find jobs, and this is what we try to do using technologies and data. So at this point, I want to share the microphone with my colleague Tatiana Grabunova, who would share her expertise on how to make a win-win collaboration between employer and employee using technologies. So I will also share my contacts. If you have further questions, you could contact me or ask the questions at the chat. Please also do not forget to see the green button below your screen and to donate to this event. We are really grateful to all of the contributors to join the event and to have us here. So, Tanya, please.
Hello, Anastasia. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. I just had a couple of questions for you. It was really awesome to hear how Jubal started, and very inspiring as to why and how much you've all grown. When you had that fast growth of employment, did you are all those employees? Did they? What initiated that growth? I guess you said in the last 3 years it was really prior to the war that there was a huge growth in staff. So, and were they all in the Ukraine? Were they all in Ukraine?
Yes, they are all in Ukraine, and Jubal is, famous not only for being a global job board, but known as being a truly Ukrainian company with headquarters in Kiev. So yes, I cannot say what specifically initiated the growth of the company. Probably the complexity of the processes we started to be involved in. Of course, we started from 2 people, and through the 10 first years, we created 60 more job offerings, so 60 more people joined, and then 120. And then in past 3 years, we realized that we cannot handle the complexity of the processes we're involved in. The company grows, and let's say our job board grows. So to handle all those processes and the business that we're into, and we hired even more and more people. So we now even opened the startup platform, so the innovation department. Jubal is developing, and we're hoping that stays the same even through such difficulties that we experienced during the past 2 years.
Yes, it is. As you told your story, it is just horrifying from the perspective of being outside and just thinking about companies stopping because their buildings were blown away. It's just heartbreaking, and it's incredible what you guys are doing to continue to help Ukrainian employees and workers find new jobs wherever they may be. That way that you quickly put up that site to help the Ukrainians that were abroad be able to start working again. That idea, that purpose, doing something meaningful to you, being in this inspiring industry, is just, it's awesome. I'm so thankful that you're doing that. So thanks so much. And let's introduce.
Thank you very much, Faith.
Yeah.
See you.
So, Stephen, who's up next?
Hey, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. That's awesome. Go for it.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Very happy to be here today. Just a second, please. I'll share my screen, and after that, we'll start my presentation. Just a second, please. Yes. Okay, let's go. So first of all, would like to say that really happy to be here today. It's very important for us to have such possibility. Yeah, so my name is Tatiana. I'm head of sales at Jubal. Want to add to my colleague Anastasia about the growth of our company, because I work at Jubal more than 10 years and I saw this long story how the company was growing. Yes, it's really amazing. And now we are still continue to grow and to develop our company. That's really very good. Yeah, so first of all, I want to say thank you to our organizers, and just to say thank you for this opportunity to be here today. And we were very happy to receive this invitation for today's event, especially in this uncertain time for our country, because all of you know about the situation in Ukraine. But we stay brave, and we hope that but very soon the situation will be much better. Speaking about myself, I stay here in Kiev, not far from Kiev, all this time from the beginning of the war. Fortunately, we had the possibility to communicate with all our relatives, friends, colleagues, and speaking about my team, we worked all this time from the beginning of the war, absolutely as in the usual way. So yeah, frankly speaking, I think that it was also a good point for us just not to be involved all the time in use, but to work, and we understood that we still help people in this world just to find job. Okay, this is also my short story, and today I would like to share with you the information about Jubal, about our experience of work in different markets with different kind of customers, to talk about the type of services we provide our customers with, how do we run in the premium campaigns, what kind of product can we provide our customers with, and also to make short overview about the trends on different markets like the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and to talk about customers' needs and so on and so forth. So let's start. As my colleague Anastasia already told, Jubal was established in 2006. So it means that for today we have more than 15 years of experience of work in different markets with different kind of customers. And for today, Jubal operates in 69 countries, and we cover almost all biggest countries in Europe. As you can see, it's 27 countries. We have quite a good coverage in North and South America, and we are quite big in Asia and Middle East. And we also started to work in Africa and Oceania. Sure, seen we have started all our websites in the world at once. We did it incrementally by growth of our company, our resources, and our interest in different type of locations. And now we also monitor the situation on the other markets, and after that we decide if we want to open new websites. Sure, if we see that there is interest from the customers. So let's go further and look at the numbers. What do we have now? I think that almost all of you have heard about the website SimilarWeb. It's quite popular, highly recommend this website. It's kind of ranking of absolutely different websites in internet. It gives ranks and analysis according to the amount of traffic of different type of websites. So speaking about Jubal, now we are in the top 7 of the sites in the category jobs and employment. We're very happy about that. This is the statistics excluding 2 very big countries for us. So it means that excluding the traffic from Russia and Belarus, we are on the 6th position. We were quite higher, but it's still very good for us. As Anastasia has already told, we stopped working in these countries after the beginning of Russian invasion. We decided that we don't want to have business anymore with these countries. But speaking about traffic, these countries were quite big for us. Quite big part of the whole traffic. And I also want to notice that, for example, in Russia, the biggest players on the market were on the list of our clients. So this way, but still we have quite a huge position. So we hope that in the nearest future we'll go further. So let's go a little bit deeper into the numbers, and I would like to share with you the information about the statistics per month and the statistics for the previous year we had. So here you can see the amount of our monthly users, page views, jobs amount worldwide, and the statistics for the previous year. Here you can see the numbers only for 69 countries where Jubal is active for now. There is a very interesting fact that if we are looking at the number of active users, for the previous year, it was a little bit bigger than the population of Indonesia. Frankly speaking, we at Jubal really like to make such comparison. What for? Then it's much more easier to realize how big we are and to understand what impact do we have in this world. We also share this information with all our teammates because it's highly important and, frankly speaking, it's motivated. So if I'm not mistaken, I was looking in Wikipedia what is the next level for us for growth. So the next level is the population of the United States. So hopefully at the end of the year, we'll celebrate the next position of it. So here is the statistics for all our websites, and I would like also to talk about the top countries we are focusing now. So here I would like to talk about top 10 countries Jubal is focusing on for today. Here you can see only the part of them. The next slide will be the next portion of these countries. What does it mean when I say about top countries for Jubal? It means that for these countries, we do much more effort of all our teams. We do some local optimization. We also use much more resources of all our teams like data science, analytics, SEO teams, and so on and so forth. So we are quite big. We continue to grow, and also want to admit that on these countries, we have the biggest clients for today. As you can also see, we are talking about the Central Europe and about the countries of North America. After that, I would like to go further and talk a little bit about the type of clients we are working today mostly. Here you can see the information for the statistics for the previous year. It's interesting to say that the job words that's almost a half of all clients Jubal works today with. The job words is kind of typical client for all aggregators, and for a very long time it was like the main type of client, and the percent of job words were much bigger. But as we see now, it becomes a little bit the amount became lower, and for especially we see this dynamic for the last 1.5 years, because now more and more players like programmatic players become more and more popular for among our customers. And also want to talk about the type of others, who these others are. Here we are talking about such clients like classifieds, outstaff agencies, gig jobs, remote jobs that become more and more popular for the last couple of years, especially in the period of pandemic. Let's go further. Here I would like a little bit to go to switch here and to talk more about the different type of customers. How do we work with them, and what kind of service do we provide to our customers? And also want to start my story with a situation that we have with our sales department. It's interesting to say there is also kind of question, because I'll share our experience, and it will be very interesting to hear your experience experience. So please feel free to write some comments or to ask questions in chat. It will be really interesting to hear your point of view and your situation. Because more than 10 years at Jubel, we had like classic situation. We had sales department with sales manager, and we worked with our customers like full stack. It meant that our sales manager worked with our customer from the very beginning when he or she is potential client, and after he became our current client. But the previous year in August, we decided that we want to change the situation because as Anastasia already told, we really wanted to grow rapidly, and at the same time we wanted to provide our clients with a much better service, to be sure that we provide them with great support, and they are really happy to use our product, and we know all their needs, goals, and so on and so forth. So almost 1 year ago, we decided to make a huge transformation in our sales department and to split big sales family, as we say, into two teams, Salesforce team and customer success team. And now I would like to talk about the main idea, what is the purpose, what is the goal of both teams, and the main thing is how do they cooperate together and what does it mean for our customer. So let's go. Speaking about Salesforce Manager, so that's a person who works with our customer when our customer is our potential client. First of all, we define the objectives, the target metrics, and it always depends on it depends on the type of customer, because every customer has its own metrics, needs, and so on and so forth. We also help to select the most suitable model. It can be CPC model, CPA model, and CPA model can be also of different kinds. It can be it can be different kind of actions. After that, we help to choose the best bid for the campaign, because we have lots of information about the market, so we can recommend what bid will be most suitable for each time of job, for each campaign. So this way. After that, Salesforce Manager can help with tracking system. Tracking system if it's needed, and if our customer wants to set it, because it's really help further to analyze the performance of the campaign. After that, we can launch a test if it's needed, because sometimes it's really better to launch a short test to understand if we have chosen the right type of model, if the bidding is okay, and to make forecast for months. After that, we evaluate the results and set everything that's needed for a campaign. It can be like segmentation of jobs, some changes in feed, if our customer wants to do some specific features in the campaign, and so on and so forth. So after we have made all preparations, we ask to help our customer success manager. And so when our customer started premium campaign, he started to work and receive support from our customer success manager. I guess that it's quite obvious. The main idea of customer success manager is to make our customer happy and successful. So what are the main idea? That the customer success manager helps to analyze how if the performance of campaign is good. We check permanently if we meet the target metrics. We also do some optimizations to meet these target metrics or just to receive much more candidates. We also provide different kind of forecasts and support with all tech technical and financial questions. And sure thing, we provide different kind of statistics if it's needed. It can be data that can help to see what is the current situation of the market, what is the market share, what are the average prices, what are the highest prices, and so on and so forth. But as I've already told, it's very interesting how do these two teams cooperate together, and how does it affect on our customer. So let's see. Yeah, as I've already told, the main idea of all this transformation was to provide our customer with better experience and support. So that's why we decided that on the step when we launch a test, surely if it's needed, when we evaluate the test results, or if just when we set up a campaign before we start premium campaign. So it's kind of segmentation, bidding, budgets, to make some changes in fees and so on and so forth. Here our customer will be supported by at least 2 representatives. So representatives from 2 teams. Sometimes we can even ask to join representatives from other teams like data science or analytics. It depends on the issue we have for now. So this way, we really see that it works good, because all teams can have much more focus, and our customer is supported by more people at a time, and he's sure that the person from Jubal is for sure knowledgeable about his needs, his issues, and so on and so forth. So after that, I would like to switch to another topic, and to talk about the trends and just about the situation do we see on the markets like United States, United Kingdom, and Canada. Just an overview that we have for now. So let's go. I'll start with the situation in the United Kingdom. Here you can see the statistics for the last 10 months. And we see that in the United Kingdom, we have quite good traffic growth, more than 40%. It started at the beginning from January. Frankly speaking, it's in December we see like always like seasonal drop of traffic. That's absolutely okay, because of everybody has vacation, Christmas, etc. Yeah, but the positive dynamics is still in April and May, so the amount of traffic still growing. And speaking about the amount of jobs on the UK market, there is also a small growth for a little bit 11%, but still we see that there are more and more jobs in our index, still continues to grow. So this is what I wanted to say about the situation on the United Kingdom market. Let's go further. Now I want to share the information about the market Canada. Here you can see also the amount of traffic. Here are almost no changes for 10 months. Also was a small drop in December, but as I've already told, it's just like seasonal trend. So we see that almost all websites have such drops. So that's just seasonal trend. And if we're talking about the amount of jobs, you could see, yeah, that there is a huge drop, but that's not a common trend for the whole market. It's just our internal policy, because we at Jubal really very care about our content. That's why we have a content quality team, and this team always checks all the feeds we receive from our partners, from our clients, and it's important for us that we index only direct content. Why it's important for us? Because of our users, when candidate wants to find a job. We don't want him to use lots of redirects. We want this way be as short as possible. That was the situation in Canada. Let's go further. And now you can see the situation in the United States. Here we can see very good growth from December until May. It's mostly 40%. But if we're talking about the amount of jobs, there is almost the same situation we have in Canada, but here is a drop like 4 times. It also connected with our policy, and we see that it's like common thing for the United States that redirects, it's like okay for lots of websites, but we decided that we at Jubal have such metric health metrics for happiness of our candidates, and that's why we are really very strict with our content. So that's why we see these changes in the amount of jobs. That was the situation on the markets, and I would also like to talk about the needs of the customers and what are the trends. What trends do we see here? So speaking about these markets, we see that there are more and more such big players like programmatic job advertisers, and sure, seeing all of them have a huge amount of jobs, and it means that more and more times we receive such requests like automatization. It means that all of them want to use dynamic feeds, to use such options like price per job. It means that you can set price for each job and to change it, I don't know, 100 times per day, to have an access to the statistics via API and so on and so forth. It's highly important to make quick changes and updates because this type of customers have a very huge number of jobs, and that's why we have to make these quick changes and update. We also work with these clients with several target metrics. It means that if we're talking about the other type of clients, when we can just set one target metric, here usually we have a very complex segmentation, and we set different target metrics for each segment. We also get requests for regular overview of the prices on different markets because of these players. They usually have campaigns on lots of markets simultaneously. That's why it's important to know to be knowledgeable about the situation on all these markets. Sure, seeing the main request from absolutely all clients, it's the quality of traffic and the amount of traffic and candidates. And here I would like to ask my colleague Salomia from CEO team to talk a little bit and to share our experience of work with traffic sources. How do we do that? Maybe some tips and tricks.
Well,
Let's stop sharing my screen. Yeah.
There we go. Yes. Hello, Tatiana. Before we go on to your colleague, it would be great to ask you a few questions. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. I was so impressed with how large Jubal really is. I actually did not realize the magnitude, so very impressed with those numbers and how many people you really help around the world get jobs every day. It is a commonly shared value of college recruiters. So it just warms my heart. The other thing is all the countries that you're expanding into and just trying to really support countries around the world. I think from what was said in the last presentation about how fast the growth has been in the last 3 years in your staff, that it must be a lot of the programmatic, the technology. So a lot of developers, and as you've just discussed, really increasing and expanding your sales team, and being able to continue to help your customers in the ways, in the ways that you want to continue to give that experience. So that is quite an accomplishment in total. We've seen the same thing, and one of the things that Stephen mentioned in the chat is just what a wonderful partner you guys have been for College Recruiter, and that that I hope that we can continue to expand that relationship and work together. I did have a question about how that's going with your sales team, and having that connection. How are you working? How are sales and customer service? How are they working together? And has it been a hard handoff and things like that? Because that's usually what gets in the sticky part. Where does sales hand off to, the customer account person so that it feels seamless to the customer?
Yeah, thank you, Faith, for the question. Yeah, let me talk about it a little bit. Yeah, you see, it was also a big question for us because we wanted it to be two teams, but at the same time, we wanted these people to work as one big team because it's important for us. So we wanted to share experience of both these teams. That's why for today we have all hands one time per week. It means that we have like meeting all together. We discuss what do we have for today, what is the current situation. We give feedbacks to both of teams. It means like what is the situation with the potential clients and what is the situation with the client that we attracted by Salesforce team. How does customer success team works with these clients? If everything is fine, what was the questions? What can we do better in our processes? So for now, we work like as one big team. Even in Slack, we have lots of chats for both for each team, but we have one general team where we can discuss all questions and just to share experience and to solve some issues if we have all together, because it's really important. And that was really interesting that when the war started in Ukraine, we just worked as one big team because sure, in the first 2 days, we were not sure if everybody can work, but it was very important for us that we can still support our clients as usual. So no troubles for our clients to make. That's why we just supported all together inside these both teams. And yes, it was very great. Frankly speaking, it was amazing from both teams. I was very thankful to everyone who was engaged in that because, yeah, we had some people who was moving to some other safety place and or had no internet connection. So we just asked, so please support the clients of this person. No problem at all. So for now, we still have the system in case if somebody is has no connection or just some personal scene stuff or a day off, I don't know. So we still have this process, and I guess that it was also a good possibility for us to make this workflow.
That's awesome. Being in a remote first company as well, that probably was a very thankful thing at the time that the war hit, because everybody was used to communicating that way. On the sales side and the process side, do you have a CRM, and do you have workflow processes in place that help ensure that people know what they're supposed to do at any given time with the customer?
Yeah, sure. We have CRM system, and we work on a regular basis to improve all these processes because we understand that there is no perfect way. And as I've already told, we have different kind of customers, and there is no like best options that will work for all of them. That's why we work all the time to improve it. Sure, seeing we have like work for now, but each month we have kind of retro meeting when we also just share experience, what was good, what was bad, what can we do better also in our even CRM system, because we want it to work fine, but we also want it to be just comfortable for our managers, and to be sure that we do all the best. We remember about all each of our customer to be sure that we have contacted in time. So yeah.
That's just wonderful. Well, I am so personally interested because College Recruiter as a niche job site is much smaller, but for some of the similar reasons that Jubal is growing, with the programmatic really increasing, changing who your customer base is and all that. I'm learning today from you and your company as well to understand better how our growth might take place in regard to our organization. So I really appreciate the insights you've shared with us today. And look forward to hearing more. So
thank you, Faith, very much. Thank you for your attention and for such interesting questions.
Yes, thank you so much. And please, everybody out there, remember to donate. This is such an important cause. It's such a hard time for the Ukrainians and everything that's happening. So please warm your heart and provide a donation below. And welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. I hope that you might hear me. It is a great honor to be here, and thank you all the organizers and participants for joining us and helping Ukraine. We really appreciate your donations, and just a gentle reminder that you may make some of the donations by clicking the green button down this screen. And I would like to start my part of presentation right now. My name is Solomia, and I work for the search engine optimization goals of the company. And I joined Jubal last fall, and I'm still with Jubal despite the war that is happening in my country, just because Jubal has amazing HR practices, and we can continue working because of all your donations and because of our brave soldiers. So today I'm going to tell a bit about the traffic we receive at Jubal and some of our practices regarding the search engine optimization. Let me share my screen. Okay, I hope that you can see my screen right now. So right now, at this diagram, you might see the traffic sources of the Jubal website that we receive. There are several options, but as you may see, the main part is an organic search, which receives about 60% of the whole traffic. So it is the largest traffic channel for us. And the question that might arise is that how Jubal obtains its search engine optimization, and what are the ranking factors that may evaluate your website in the Google search engine. First of all, this is about content quality. So inside your website, you need to have the content that will attract your users, that will let your users stay on your website and use all the possibility, all the useful resources that you might provide inside your website. Another point is that there should be an expertise behind your website. So the sources you use should be trustworthy, and you should provide the expertise to the users. So your content should be the content that makes value and might show that you are a respectful source. Here we can also see that backlinks play an important role. This means collaboration with other websites. This also means that other websites mention you because of your good quality services, and the services that you provide to the users are valuable. Then it's also about user engagement, and user engagement comes when there are, as I've already mentioned, useful resources, as well as the technically easy and friendly design of the website. So it should be easy for the user to interact through and navigate through the website, so that they might find the useful information for them. And this is, of course, the part of the technical team to provide them right technical assistance of your website. Another point is, of course, your page speed. So it means how good your website is loading and how easy accessible your website is. There might be also other factors, but as you might see, the main idea of the ranking factors that mainly influence your search engine optimization via Google is the services you provide. And you need to provide your services with WOW, so they need to be of a high quality with the good technical assistance behind the website, as well as trustworthy resources and others. For instance, at Jubal, we also have a website and we also have a blog where some tips and points of advice might be provided to the people who are looking and searching for their jobs. And of course, these might grow the importance of Jubal for the users, because they do not only find their job, they do not only find their beloved job on the platform, but they may also access some of the resources to boost their CVs or to receive some interesting trends about the market. And another point of how to maintain these ranking factors is who's standing behind that. So the question is, who is maintaining, who might maintain such factors if we talk about different companies? Well, generally, if we talk about search engine optimization, this is the work of the whole Jubal team. And not only in Jubal, you might implement your practices in your website. So if you have any of the experience about search engine optimization or working with different departments inside your company to boost your website, please, we will be happy to read about them. So share them in the comments to this stream. And generally, as I've already mentioned, that search engine optimization is the coordinated work of all teams, such as, for instance, if we talk about war, it is also the victory and peace is the coordinated workflow of volunteers, soldiers, donators, those people who help us around from other countries. And the same goes to the search engine optimization. So we basically have the search engine optimization team who is mainly analyzing different factors of how to boost the website, of how to provide the quality, and is looking around the different methods and possible points of how to make that search engine optimization better. But we also have our PR and content team, which are helping to create useful materials and tell other people who might be interested in our services that Jubal possesses some value for them. There is also about development, because as I've mentioned before that the technical navigation of your website and the technical maintenance is very important for the search engine optimization. There is the company of products and analytics, as well as data science, who can scrap the data and who can process the data as well. There is, of course, sales, as my colleagues told already, that sales team plays an important role in receiving the quality and receiving the service in the right proper way for our users and others. So generally, these are the main points of the search engine optimization in Jubal. And if to summarize these points, is that search engine optimization is the joint forces of different departments, of different people with different backgrounds, and it's important to know how to navigate through them and how to make them collaborate together to work for one aim. It is also important to have the quality. So this is the main part. Sometimes, and in most ways, quality is the most important part of search engine optimization. It goes about the background. It talks about user experience. It talks about let us say content that the user receives and backlinks. And search engine optimization plays an important role for any business that has its website and wants to have good places in the Google search engine to receive new potential customers that will value your propositions. So that's basically everything I wanted to mention. And now I would like to pass the floor to my colleague Alex, and he might share more tips about how to make your campaign goals work properly. And he's going to talk about Drupal use cases. They're really interesting. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Solomia. Hi and welcome, everyone. To begin with, I would like to express gratitude to Steven Rothberg and Faith Rothberg from College Recruiter and Stephen O'Donnell from TA Tech and all the sponsors for organizing and hosting this event. It's a huge honor and pleasure for me to participate here. I'm also grateful to every attendee who joined us today, and I just probably can't overestimate the importance of such support for Ukraine today. So huge thank you and a warm greeting from our capital Kyiv and the headquarters of Drupal. I stayed in Kyiv from the first day of the Russian invasion, and now I'm really happy to see how the city gets lively again, while our courageous army continues to hold the invaders in the east and in the south of our country. I also already met with some of the colleagues in our office. A bigger part of our team works from the other cities or even countries, but we still stand together and, as usual, do our best to help people get jobs. So let's move on to the presentation and get acquainted. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, so now you should see my screen, shouldn't you? Okay. I work as a customer success lead at Drupal and manage the customer success team in the Drupal aggregation business. As the customer success team, we are the customer's advocate inside Drupal and do our best to help our clients run successful job ad campaigns. Today, I'm going to speak about some of the most popular solutions among our customers. This presentation is our view to the most popular challenges in the job market and how we address those challenges. The presentation includes two basic, two advanced, and two brand new solutions. It would be cool if you ask your questions in the chat during the presentation or just by using the voice after the slides. Or you can also share some of your experience of working with the challenges that we cover. That would be interesting to hear as well. Attendees who wish to donate can click the green Please Donate Here button below the video or just use the link from the chat. Okay, so let's move on. As mentioned before, Drupal is now operating in 69 countries worldwide. This global reach is of a big use for our customers who often need to run a multi-country job ad campaigns. To begin with, can you guess what share of our customers run their job ad campaigns in 2 or more countries simultaneously? Just please use the chat to make a guess in percent. All right, see no guesses so far. Okay, so here's the right answer. Every fifth customer, or 20% of all customers, run campaigns in 2 or more countries simultaneously. Half of these customers run campaigns in 5 or more countries. The maximum expansion rate rises up to 38 countries. All of these customers obviously need a single login for campaign management and reporting to reduce this usual headache while managing dozens of job feeds, compiling monthly reports, and making optimizations. That is why we simplified the access to our bidding system. A multi-country customer may get just one account that covers any number of countries. The jobs are posted on Drupal from just one XML file, where only a country tag is needed to distinguish the placement to post a job on. The same works for campaign management and statistics. You're able to manage and quickly analyze all your campaigns within just one account. For the advanced users who know how to automate the ad stuff, we offer API-based campaign management and extended reporting. In fact, one can run the job ad campaigns on Drupal without even logging in to the account. Now, the next thing you always want to do while running a job ad campaign is constantly check if you actually meet your goals. In other words, analyze and optimize the performance. As a rule, our customers face the following challenges. How can I keep the target metric value within the desired range? How can I arrange the budget according to the different priority of each job segment? How can I spend my budget evenly throughout the advertising period? To address those challenges, we enriched our product with the following solutions for the performance-based advertising models. For example, CPC campaigns with tracking. It's a bit more flexible option for the advertisers that work with the ranged goal values. For example, a target action should cost between $30 till $35. Or CPA campaigns for the advertisers with a fixed price per action. For example, not more or less than $30. Both solutions help our customers to help keep the target metric value in the green zone. Job segmentation filters work perfectly for custom job ad prioritization. For example, some of our customers wonder how they can promote only certain job sectors for only certain top clients. In this case, you might want to use a combination of the category and company filters, where both parameters are parsed either from an XML file, from the customer's website, or the job URLs. From our own experience, we see how tricky the advertising logic might be. That is why we left a custom filter option to make sure our clients' campaign setup is as flexible as you like. And finally, probably one of the most straightforward solutions to spend the available budget evenly is the daily budget limit, which also includes custom campaign restart time. Sometimes our customers need to make sure that they get premium traffic volume from 1st to 31st monthly. And this option works perfectly well in these cases. So let's move on to the advanced use cases. As mentioned by Tatiana, programmatic job advertising is already the new reality in the job industry. While it is already popular in the United States for years, we also see how this technology started to change the European markets. For that reason, we see our customers face the new challenges. I'm using a PGA software to optimize my bids automatically. How does it work with Drupal? Or we update the bids 4 times a day. How can we make sure you update our job rankings accordingly? Again, the familiar challenge with job priority. I would rather use my PGA software instead of my Drupal account to prioritize jobs. How can I do this? Now, these clients are successfully using our PGA-friendly bidding system. First of all, after customer changes the job priority with the help of his PGA software, the changes immediately appear in the XML file with jobs. And we regularly map the bids for each job in the customer's feed to update the bids in our system as well. This requires a custom feed update frequency right on our end after a new version is available. So now let's make another guess. How do you think, what is the maximum daily feed update frequency used by our customers so far? Just the same, use the chat in order to make a guess. All right, maybe a harder thing to guess, but still, let's get to the right answer. 12 times a day is the maximum frequency used at the moment. But now we've got a higher mountain to climb, as recently one of the customers inquired about updating the feed hourly. So we will make sure to do this as well. So we already mentioned how important it is to analyze the performance. This need, again, creates already mentioned challenges, such as how can we optimize the campaign by using the CPA data? Or how can we arrange our budget for jobs based on their price per action? Finally, how can we keep our target CPA range smartly? And our answer is just track it somehow. As we introduced our first tracking solution years ago, we thought we would now increase the performance for our customers dramatically, thanks to the accurate conversion data. In a month, we heard sorry, we are not installing any third-party tracking codes apart from Google Analytics on our website. So we just started our journey in the search of other ways of tracking. After analyzing the experience of our customers, partners, providers, and other research work, we implemented several variations of tracking mechanism suitable for almost any customer. In fact, our customers can track the performance together with us on one of the three levels. Click level tracking, which is actually the choice of our team, includes advanced solutions such as tracking pixel available in the Google Tag Manager gallery, postback URL, or even an API from your analytics system. This level is the most detailed one among others. That is why it enables us to improve almost every side of our product with the highest detailization. The next level is similar in its principle. I mean, the next two levels, but different in the way the data that we get. So it is less detailed data. These are campaign and source level tracking. This is the best choice among our customers with a strict performance data policy. They just set up automatic conversions reports, and our in-house data bot does the rest and provides our team with the conversion data that is used for regular optimizations of almost every side of our product, search, PPC, newsletter, etc. Now, as next, let me refer to the voices of some of our customers who successfully use the presented solutions or even combine them. We are honored to collaborate with these well-known companies and help them run successful job ad campaigns. Now, let's move on to some of our newer solutions. As we communicate with our customers, we noticed another common challenge. How can we increase our job ad reach even further? Especially relevant in case you try to promote some really specific job, like astronaut or chief listening officer. As we understand that we don't reach all job seekers in the world, at least yet, we created our trusted partner network to post our clients' jobs in various platforms alongside Jubal. This leads to another two challenges. How can we optimize those channels? How can we smartly use our available resources to integrate all those extra candidate channels? Now, our network now includes more than 50 partners that cover 18 countries. We really enjoy cooperating with our fellow publishers. A lot of these operate in several countries like we do. For example, we've got 15 partners that operate in 5 or more countries simultaneously. In addition, we take over the feed management, job posting, performance tracking, and optimizations so that the customers don't have to search for those additional resources to manage extra candidate channels. Now, let's move on to the last item in this presentation. Ever since we launched our job ad service, We branded clients' jobs to make them more recognizable and clickable in our search results. In fact, our research showed that the ads with a logo only slightly better probable to be clicked than those without a logo. But the researches are still going on. However, we used to set and use just one logo of just one brand per campaign. Meanwhile, some of our customers already put more effort towards visibility of their customers' brands rather than their own one. And however, uploading logos for each of 500 jobs employers in a feed would be a really tough challenge. That's why our customers are now able to share various logos in their job feed. Again, we use our parser to show these logos in our search results automatically for each job. It is shown on both desktop and mobile versions of Jubal to provide the best visibility and CTR across all devices. So that was it for today from my end. Thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions now, and then pass the mic to Anastasia again to share the recruitment tips of Jubal.
Thank you, Alex. I probably am starting my presentation again. Yes, I have to say that we're sharing the office right now with Alex, and he is the next room, and partly I'm hearing your presentation next to me, and it's really good and forgotten feeling of being in the office. Let me share my screen again, and I shall start with the presentation of recruitment tips and how to hire people who fit the company's values. As I mentioned before, that the number of employees in Jubal has increased during past 3 years. So this intensive recruitment process had to be supported somehow. And imagine that it is very easy to create a team within the company of 15 people, and how difficult it is to create a team with chemistry within the company with 300 plus people. So what we decided would be the glue that would create this team and the chemistry within it is the artifact of our values. The first tip I might start with is that whether you are trying to create the recruitment process that has to be unified for all of the candidates and is called to create the team within the company of many people, you have to create the artifacts of your company first. These artifacts might be the mission, the vision, the goals of the company, values. From that, you could create the organizational capabilities, and to go further to the competencies that would support the goals of your company. But if you, for example, don't have this precise system of evaluation and precise system of artifacts of your company, you might start from something that would unify your company. In our case, that would be the values. And as I said, that since Jubal increased over past 3 years, we picked our values as the glue that would create the chemistry in our company, and we use those values to select people, to develop them, and then to create the performance review session with value-based questions, with value-based system. So let me elaborate more on the values of Jubal. We're usually starting to assess values and to speak about Jubal values from the internal locus of control. To explain what it is, I want you to think about the question, do you believe in faith? And it's not Faith Rothberg I'm speaking about at the moment, but the faith of your life. To describe or to explain what internal locus or general locus of control is, try to think that it is the capability which refers to individual perception about the underlying main causes of events in one's life, or simply saying whether I am the cause of everything that happens to me, or luck, faith, and external reasons. Evaluating this value as internal locus of control, we're using several questions. And one of them, just to give you an idea about the recruitment interview in terms of locus of control, imagine the situation where a person is late for the interview or late to the meeting. And imagine what he or she says after he enters the interview. What was the reason of he or she was late? If the candidate says that I was late because of the traffic jam in Kiev at usual situation is really crazy and can cause a lot of problems getting to the interview, then yes, it might be reasonable. But think that the person could check the traffic jam beforehand. He or she might get up earlier, get prepared to the interview earlier, check the traffic jam, and pick the transportation that would get him or her in time to the interview. So these two differences would explain the display of the internal locus of control in person. We in Jubal are picking and looking for people who say that I was late because it was literally my fault. Yes, I could do all those actions to prevent myself to get late, but I didn't. And I am trying and going to take actions in order to prevent those situations to happen to me in future again. So this is what locus of control is. And this is what kind of people we're looking for in Jubal. I might also start with explanation of the recruitment process for Jubal and with the tips of how you might build your recruitment process. To select and to evaluate all of the candidates adequately and equally, you might use some of the techniques of the interview. It might be structured or semi-structured interview. For example, here in Jubal, we use the STAR technology, which is a behavioral-based interview. STAR stands for the technique or the interview where candidates respond to interviewer by discussing specific situation, task, action, and result, which stands for STAR. Or we could also use it for CAR abbreviation, challenge, action, and result. You also would consider to ask a person to make an example of his recent action at the previous workplace to describe the display of this or that competency or value in our case. So asking about internal locus of control, we also ask about the previous task at the previous workplace from the person and the results of those tasks. And if specifically the results was was bad or unsatisfactory, we're asking a person, how do you think, what was the cause of it? And we're of course expecting a person to say that his or her action was the main cause of the results. Of course, many people, and which is psychologically normal, are trying to or attempt to tend to say that his or her success is the result of one's action. But actually, we're looking at, especially for people who are honest about their bad results and honest of in successful situation in their workplace or in their career. So this is what internal locus of control is. The next value there that we are evaluating and trying to assess and looking for in our candidates and in our employees is development for orientation. Again, it correlates with the development of the company itself. And we're, of course, seeking for people who tend to keep up with the speed of our development. We're looking and seeking for people who tend to learn new technologies faster, who try to keep up with the speed of technologies out there, outside of our company, or use literature, books, seminars, webinars for the personal development. And of course, we have this internal benefit for our people is the compensation of the education. For example, if you're using some new skills or planning to use some new skills that you are planning to gain from educational courses, and so the company would compensate it to you, because this is how important the development orientation is for us. Generally, why we use the values as the core, let's say, competency that we assess in people is because we believe that it's easier and more performable it is, and preferable it is, to work with people with whom you have the chemistry and with whom you are at the same wave of understanding. So you don't have to explain another person your point of view, because he or she might already understand it, because we share the same point of view at the live events. And of course, the development of orientation supports our extensive development. The next value that we are focused on is the passion for work. I believe that without this value inside, none of our speakers would be here today. We're here because we love what we do, because we're passionate about what we do, and we're passionate about the details of our work. Describing the passion of work, we usually speak about the ability of a person to daily do something that is interesting for you, and something that is a reward for you itself. Also, speaking about the passion for work, we are assessing the ability of a person to access the flow stance. To describe it to you how it looks in a person or at your colleague is that when a person is totally into the task he or she is doing and is not distracted by any distractors which are around. It is probably difficult for some people when we have the office work and a lot of things to do, a lot of calls and so, but when a person is passionate about what he is doing, he probably might want to do this flow about his or her tasks. And to evaluate this in our candidates, we usually try to see and try to mention how a person speaks about his job, about his previous experience about the job, or the specifics of the work that he or she is doing. If the person is really passionate, if he is using a lot of details about the job and sometimes taking too much time in description of what he is doing, we realize that the person is really into the job and is really keen on specifics what he is doing. We're not speaking right now about a work as a dream job, because the workplaces could be different, but the specifics of the job and the tasks might be the same. For example, if the person is really passionate about being an accountant, probably he or she might do that in any company and is really passionate about calculations and details and data. So this is what we are trying to assess in our candidates. Tax value is openness to other people, and actually I cannot stop speaking about the passion to work, because really for me, and to my humble opinion, this is the core value that creates the glue between our employees, between our teams. So to support that glue, to support the communication between the teams and between the employees, we also cherish the openness to people. It might sound that we expect people to be always open and keen on communication and open to the discussions of different situations and tasks in the daily job life, but openness to other people is basically about emotional intelligence, about the ability to look at things through eyes of another person, and which is even more important, the ability to analyze and accept the even critical feedbacks emotionlessly and calmly. Because once we have the open culture or the flat culture in the company where people are really open to give feedbacks, we might realize that some feedbacks might be taken critically and might be, I wouldn't say insulting, but people accept critical feedbacks in different ways. So what we expect from our employees and from ourselves as a part of company is to receive those feedbacks calmly and to try to understand why the other person is giving such a feedback, and to, from your side, to give feedback freely. And the last but not the least value that we are trying to assess, I'm trying always not to say evaluating the value, but that's actually what we do in our recruitment process, is we seeking candidates and employees with owner's mindset. The slide says, if not me, then who? And it is completely true. Establishing our recruitment process and discussing where should we find our candidates and who are our competitors in the labor markets of Ukraine or outside of Ukraine, we're usually try to think that we're competing not with other IT product companies, but we're competing with individual entrepreneurs. Because if we're seeking for people with owner's mindset, we might find them being individual entrepreneurs already. And we're seeking for people with this approach, with such approach that people are ready to establish and introduce the initiatives into company if the employee sees that something goes wrong, if he sees that something can be improved, and if it can be improved, it must be improved. But be ready that if you notice that something can and will be improved, that you are the owner of this initiative and you are completely responsible for it. Be ready for the cooperation with your colleagues or with other teams, but the owner of the process would be you. So this is why we're competing mostly with the private entrepreneurs at the labor market. Having this in mind and having the picture of the ideal candidate with a high display of each value that we're speaking about, we try to recruit the best fitting people to our company, not because we think that they would be perfect performers, which we expect as well, of course, but we cherish values more than hard skill. In our beliefs that a person with a will and with quick learning ability and the openness to development can learn the hard part and the hard skill part easily and can learn it faster. But if the person doesn't have the values that we share, it would be really difficult to match the Jubal culture. So what we're trying to find is the perfect match within a candidate and the company, because we're not only trying to find a dream job for blue collars now all over the world, but we're trying to give the dream job to our candidates as well. And of course, now as we're experiencing the war times, but what you can relate to as well is the pandemic situation. We started to be the remote first company. And I have to say as well that Jubal has started as the fully offline company. So before the pandemic started, the official policy of our company would be that you have to be here at the office to communicate with your colleagues, to be more in the flow of your tasks. And we didn't believe that it is possible to create an environment where teams or individual contributors could work as one company, being fully remote. But that's what we do. But this is the reality right now. And of course, in order to fulfill our goals and to keep up with the speed of development of our company, we had to create or use new tools to manage our remote teams. We dug our head into research and research a lot in terms of finding the instruments, how to make our people more efficient, still engaged, and happy after all, even being remote. Because remembering the starts of the pandemic, we've been adapting to the new reality, and this adaptation took literally all workforces from our people. So considering those tools that are at the slide, we're managing our remote teams to keep them still engaged and prevent the burnout. I will elaborate more on each tool, and I will try to be as short on the presentation as I can, because I realize that it's the final presentation, the final slide. So I shall start from the tool of communication. Well, of course, everyone realizes that communication is really important, and right now I'll elaborate on what type of communication I'm speaking about. Since the beginning of the pandemic and of the remote work, the people were thinking in Zoom calls, in online chatting, in being constantly at your laptop or at your computer answering the emails and so. And you of course understand that the communication within Zoom and the interpersonal communication at the coffee spot is completely different. So as a tool of communication, I'm speaking more about reasonable communication, about quality one-to-ones with your manager, about fulfilling the need of interpersonal communication at your employees. For example, there are some tools that create chatbots that could invite your employees for Zoom coffees. You could implement those chatbots into your messaging system within your company, and to create the environment where each of your employees can use 15 minutes to have a quick chat with your colleague. The next tool would be about performance. Speaking about performance, I'm not only speaking about the expectations of the management for high performance, but we're mostly speaking about the clear expectations, clear deadlines, and introduction of the quality measurements. If you're using the tool of performance, consider introducing KPIs or OKRs that would create the clear expectation for people, for your employees, on what to expect at the end of the month, of the quarter, or at the end of the year. How would you measure their performance? How would you discuss on results of the performance? And of course, having your one-to-ones, you should discuss the obstacles for a person not gaining the result that you've expected. The next tool would stand for collaboration. At this tool, I would probably speak about trying to avoid the feeling of loneliness that everyone faces being alone with his or her computer. Of course, we're constantly, even though we're constantly on Zoom calls and discussing something with our colleagues and we're in constant chats, the feeling of loneliness and the feeling of not doing something meaningful and not contributing to the final goal of your company is present. So try to create such tasks for your company, if you're a manager, where everyone could contribute to, and where everyone could avoid this loneliness feeling, and where everyone could realize and to communicate within the company's values and within the goals of the company. I would move forward to leadership, and I think leadership could and should be present in any tool that in every tool that I've discussed before, within communication, performance, collaboration, and so try to create leadership where your employees can be led by example rather than led by micromanagement or constant checking on a person whether he or she is fulfilling his daily tasks. With the beginning of pandemic and with the beginning of remote first introduction, we totally changed the concept of approach to the evaluation of the person's contribution to the job. If before we would consider, let's say, good employee, the one who is in time at the job and leaves after 6 or tries to overtime, and so right now we try to realize that is the contribution of a person and the results what matter, not the time spent at the computer. So this is how we transfer to reasonable workload. Here I would like to mention within reasonable workload, not the overtimes themselves, but the policies that you might consider to introduce into your company policies. I'm speaking right now about the family-friendly policies of the company. Especially these concerns to female employees, where when you're staying at home all day long because you're working from home, from your home office, you might also have feel the need to do your homework for caring for your children, which are also at home, and doing all the things that you're usually doing being a female employee. For example, today my day has started as a day of usual employee, but in the middle of the day, I would have to take my 1-year-old to the doctor to have his usual shots after 1 year. And so consider that your employees might do something beside of work within the workday, but it is what is necessary to keep this work-life balance, or what we say right now in Ukraine, work-life balance. So besides of family-friendly policies, consider to introduce this respect for personal time, and consider to introduce the guidelines or the policies that would regulate on when a person has to respond to email or a call or a message. For example, if we're speaking about people who are working from home, they might not always be in touch or at their computer, but if you have the guidelines that the email should be responded to within 24 hours or 12 hours or how many hours you want, then person would still have this clearance about the expectations from him, how to act within this new reality of being remote. And of course, to total it up, I would again remind you about the leadership, that leadership is the example, not micromanagement. And at this point, I would like to end up with my presentation and to proceed to your questions, whether you have ones. And of course, again, I am sharing my contacts. Once you have additional questions that you didn't have a chance to ask here in chat, just email me and I will get back to you with the responses. So thank you very much for attention. Yes, I'm seeing the chat about work-life balance. Yes, that's what was said here.
Yes. Thank you so much, Anastasia. Stephen O'Donnell, are you going to join us as well?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, everyone who's given a presentation so far. Anastasia, that was absolutely fascinating. Really interesting to find out the reach and the history of Jubila, as well as how business is being handled right now in the midst of all the chaos that's going on. The business is still going at all. I suppose to everyone would be a bit of a miracle, but that it's doing so well and is so busy right now is really quite something, quite phenomenal. So thank you very much, Anastasia, and of course all of our speakers that we've had today. It's often the case that the people in the US and the UK and perhaps some of the major countries in Europe, we have the blinkers on. We don't really see beyond our own scope, and know that there's busy job markets in all countries throughout the world. But particularly in Europe, where there are so many languages being spoken, then we can sometimes be oblivious to other organisations. And even though we know that Jubila is present throughout the world and has vacancies advertised in multiple languages, we can be a little focused on the brand names that we see in day out. But as part of the tapestry, if you like, of recruitment services online, of hiring platforms online, there are many more out there that are doing a phenomenal job. And I now know much more about Jubila and where you are in the marketplace. So that's fascinating to hear. With that, I'm going to drop Anastasia, unless you want to say something else, Anastasia, before you go.
Nothing more than gratitude for having us
Okay.
here, each of the presenters. Thank you again.
Oh, I think Stephen wants to ask something.
Yeah, don't drop on stage if she can hang on for 2 seconds, because I had a comment that came in offline, and then also a couple of questions. So the comment first is that I think that this presentation really did a wonderful job of reminding all of us that our companies are really just made up of people, and that it's the people that really make a difference. It's such a cliche, and we all sort of say it, and sometimes we believe it. But if your team wasn't exceptional, it shows the importance of the values, because when it really is necessary, your team has really come together and delivered incredible value to its customers in incredibly difficult situations. A couple of questions, Anastasia, if you don't mind. One was whether you believe that every company or other organization, nonprofit, government, whatever, but does every company need to have its own values?
Well, I have my opinion, and I have the opinion of science of HR. Yes, HR science says that there should be values and there should be artifacts of the company to create the base of your recruitment process, of the performance management, and so. But to my personal opinion, if you don't have values yet written, that doesn't mean you don't have values at all. You just have to do the focus groups and to find out what your people believe their values are.
Yeah,
I think it's also true that values, they often come out of focus groups, and sometimes they come out from management teams or supervisors and so on. And all companies nowadays will say these are our values, but your values are only on a piece of paper until they're tested. And once they're tested, you then see what's important to the people in an organisation, from the leadership right down to the person working part-time in a remote location. When you live your values, that's when you can say this is what we stand for, and that's certainly very apparent here. We can all aspire to be better. We can all aspire to say that when push comes to shove, we'll do the right thing. But only when you are pushed and shoved do you see who will do the right thing. So that's to me, that's what your values mean. That at the point of being tested, that you stand by them and show character.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's important to note that, especially for organizations that have been around for longer, you can see that your values change over time. And it doesn't mean that they're getting better, doesn't mean that they're getting worse, but it's not carved in stone. And especially as your leadership changes, those values will change. And your leadership is really accountable for setting those values and living them. So it's one thing to write it down, like Stephen, you were saying, on a piece of paper. We all can think of many organizations that talk about being family friendly, and they're not at all. The second question, if we have, we do. I think we have another minute or two. Is for Anastasia. At what stage of development is it necessary for a company to implement the values? And I think the point of that question is really to sort of like understand what your values are, and then also to communicate them. Is that something that you do right away when you're starting up a company? Is it something that happens later in a company's existence?
Well, usually it's something that happens later in the company when the company gains, a certain weight in terms of the number of employees. And if we are speaking about the option where the values come from the employees upwards, then yes, you need at least some focus groups and some employees to share those values. But if we're speaking about some companies that, as Jubal has started from 2 people, I'm sure that Roman and Eugen has shared the values between themselves firstly, and then shared it with us, with our employees. So the values start where the company starts, whether there are 2 people or 300 people.
Yeah, I think so. And I can speak for College Recruiter that we really try to communicate our values. It took, for most of our existence, we've been around for 31 years. For most of our existence, we did not have our values documented. We hadn't sat there and talked about them, written them out. But since we did that, I think starting about 4 or 5 years ago, I think we've done a much better job of moving towards what we aspire to. And not just accepting where we're at. So we're far from perfect, but for those organizations that are listening, I would say if your leadership team has not sat down and done that hard work of really knowing what is actually different, what's actually real, where do you want to be, it's well worth the time. Stephen, any thoughts on your end, or should you and I do the nice little wrap up?
I think we're all good. I'd like to say thank you very much again, Anastasia, and all of our guests that have been on, and Yulia, who's very much in the background, but has helped to organise the agenda and everything that we've had on today from Jubal. So with that, I'll say thank you very much. Thank you, Anastasia. I'm going to drop you off now. Can I also apologise if anyone's been hearing clicks throughout the event? Apparently I have the loudest mouse in the world, and my microphone has been picking it up the entire time. So sorry about that. But thanks everyone who's joined us as guests on screen today, and of course the people who have joined us in the chat and watching not only on Crowdcast but on all the other platforms. And lastly, can I say a huge thanks, Stephen, for you who made this happen in the first place. It's absolutely my pleasure. And us at TA Tech to get involved and to support such a very worthy cause and of course topical. As you were saying, well, as I was saying earlier, your values of what you do when push comes to shove, and this is what you've done, which is making a big difference. And can you let us know how we've done on the fundraising, Steve?
I don't have a total. I think just during the presentation now, we've raised roughly $1,000. The total is somewhere in the, well, at least 5. I think we're in the $5,500 to $6,000 range. And it's stuff comes in different ways. So it's like some funds are coming in straight from PayPal, some through GoFundMe, some through Eventbrite. But
and I know that there'll be people who have made commitments to make a donation but haven't made it as yet. But anyone who hasn't and would like to, then please click on the button below. We would be very grateful for any donation, large or small. Sometimes you see donations and you think, oh, everyone else is chipping in large amounts. Every single dollar counts, so don't think that it won't make a difference. Of course, large donations are very welcome, but any donation whatsoever all goes in the same pot.
Yeah, and I would like to close by thanking you, Stephen, the folks from Jubal, absolutely, Andrew Setzenko, sorry, my pronunciation is so horrible, for doing the amazing work. He has basically put Relocate Me on hold for the last 3.5 months and is just spending his day driving his van back and forth from the border to deliver humanitarian supplies. Peter Weddle, your boss at TA Tech, who just hosted a huge conference just a couple weeks ago in Austin, Texas. And so you guys were juggling both of these at the same time, not an easy thing to do, either one of them individually, and you did both of them. And then I'll close by just thanking again our sponsors, the AIM Group, ATAP, the Association of Talent Acquisition Professionals, Career Crossroads, the Chad and Cheese podcast, the Job Board Doctor, the Job Board Geek podcast. I'm a co-host of that. Pando Logic, Recruiting Brain Food, Recruiting.work, Rec Tech Media, and finally, but not lastly, or whatever you say, the Talent Board and their Candidate Experience Awards. Also, thank you, of course, to the people who have already donated and are about to donate. If anybody's looking for the donation option and can't easily find it, just shoot me an email, Stephen@collegerecruiter.com. Thank you, everyone.
Stephen with a V.
Either will come to me.
Okay, perfect. Well covered. Well covered. Thank you very much again. And I think we're all clear. Thank you then, everyone.
Cheers.